Smallville, the TV series, did introduce us to over 10 seasons of Clark Kent, Superman, being raised in Metropolis, dealing with superpowered people, being introduced to a unique version of the DC universe, and a unique upbringing and raising of the Man of Steel himself, Clark Kent. And introduced to multiple DC characters and seeing his life throughout Smallville in a very unique way. But the show may have ended with him ripping open his shirt and facing off to a new threat there in his Superman suit. But might I add, this wasn't the end of Smallville. What am I talking about here, Willis? Well, I'm your host, Dakota Morgan, coming to you from Phoenix, Arizona. This is the Lower Pod Podcast, and I'm talking about Smallville Season 11, the unknown, really, comic book series that continued the fucking show. Now, without further ado, though, let's dive into Smallville Season 11 and talk all the lore, shall we? Written by Brian Q. Miller and multiple artists on this series. This picks up 6 months after the events of Smallville Season 10 with Darkseid, Desaad, all the shit like that as well. Clark Kent is now Superman. He's moved into Metropolis. He is with Lois Lane, of course. Plus his best friend being Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow. I should also make it clear, throughout the whole Smallville series, there was a lot of introductions to a lot of DC heroes at this point, and boy, has it paid off later. More of that to come. Now, we can talk about a lot of the storylines that have happened, though, in Smallville Season 11, but boy, oh boy, that would be a 4-hour-long episode. So if you wish to see or hear some of the shit there, the storyline specifically, like the Lantern Reign, Supergirl, all that, I can do in-depth coverage of that. Let me know in the comments on social media, in the description box down below, through Twitter, aka X, Instagram, and of course, comment or wherever you guys listen to the podcast. Let me know if you want those coverage. But besides that, we're going to be diving into a lot of the highlights here of Smallville Season 11 and an overall coverage of that. Again, if you want in-depth coverage, let me know. Without that, characters like Supergirl, like from the show that we do see, Martian Manhunter, Metallo, they actually do get more comic book accurate suits. While we did see the Smallville, CW / Warner Brother Channel version of them, we do get them finally in suits and a lot more of an upgrade to them. Metallo especially being more metallic and shit. And of course, Martian Manhunter getting his green Martian look to him, which was amazing as hell to see. Supergirl getting her iconic outfit with a few little Smallville touches was awesome. I should also make it clear too, in this comic book series, minus a few different panels, of course, because it's hard to do it every panel, majority of the time, these characters are gonna be drawn to look like their actor counterparts, which is nice. It's not like a Superman comic, but it's in the Smallville universe. It is legitimately who these characters look like the actors who played them before, and they keep it very much in the Smallville universe with the writing and the artwork style. It's very on point, by the way. The trade paperbacks are available online. It is out of print, but you can buy the trade paperbacks online in multiple areas. Going further on, though, the storylines, again, I can cover those in depth later, was able to go into bigger, bolder, more crazy-ass action sequences, storyline sequences, all that shit there with the characters, because it's comic book form, right? You're able to go and do whatever the hell you want. So we're able to finally see these characters go big, the brave, and the bold with them, if you will, that they would do in the comic books and animated movies and movies as well. But the Smallville universe got a lot bit bigger, and the stakes got fucking higher in these storylines, too. More on that to come. With the theme of story, though, might I add, Lex Luthor, resurrected in Season 10, and with the help of Mercy and shit like that as well, his sister, let's just say Tess, aka Lena Luthor, was able to survive. And in a way, because her whole brain was copied and implanted into the clone of Lex Luthor. So he's all fine. He's got his memories back, more or less. He doesn't know who Clark Kent is anymore, aka Superman. But he has his sister running around as like an AI in his brain, similar to a la Halo Season 2. Or Season 1 even. It's fucking wild. So your Tess still survives. And she was an amazing character throughout the seasons too. And seeing her become good and shit, being killed off was absolutely stupid. But you're able to see her come back. And that does pay off because eventually she does get a body later on. May or may not be a red tornado. Covering some of the highlights and stories though from this whole series. Again, this series lasted a long time. 19 printed issues. And in 19 issues, I wish they would have made it to 20. Good even number. Guess what? They covered covered a lot. And what do they cover? Well, starting with, we have a Green Lantern storyline. You know how they were only seeing Alan Scott from the Justice Society in the show? You're wondering, what's going on? We're seeing Dr. Fate and shit like that. How come we don't see Green Lantern? Joke's on you. Because Jon Stewart arrives in the storyline here with a wave of lantern rains that do take cover the Earth. And he does give us the backstory that Hal Jordan in this universe was killed by Parallax, aka making him the only Green Lantern for now. A little sidetrack though. Batman is introduced in this universe. I should have made that one a little bit more clear. Batman is introduced into this universe here. Before we continue on the Lantern story, again, Batman, right? Batman is a really cool. He has this nice armored suit. He actually has this like gel / tech kind of thing over his mouth opening, which makes it so you can't really quite tell who he is. A lot of tech feature in there too. Very awesome. And you do find out Batman throughout the storyline, throughout the history of Smallville, was doing his own shit, keeping it on Clark. Of course, he knows who Clark is. Yada yada. But because everyone knows who Clark is at this point in this fucking universe. But Batman is introduced. Does he have a Robin? No! Even though he's been fighting these villains on his own for years, Bruce had to be dealing with some Kryptonian shit from time to time. Especially with Dark Thursday, all that shit like that too. So, besides that, he doesn't have a Robin. He has a purple and white, yellow kind of suited Nightwing. Now, why is Nightwing looking different in this universe? That is because Nightwing is not Dick Grayson, who was once a Robin. Nightwing is straight up fucking Barbara Gordon. She didn't become a Robin. She was just Nightwing. Cool ass concept. This is Barbara going in, having her own Nightwing uniform, and becoming that. It's neat. It's a big fucking brave step for them to do, to be honest with you, in the DC universe. So we do have a storyline where Superman meets Batman, and the other heroes meet Batman, and yada yada. Green Arrow gives them shit, which is the whole thing. We'll get into later, but with that in mind, during the Lantern storyline, we actually had the Yellow Lantern Reigns invade Arkham, and classic Batman villains did escape and shit like that as well. I do wish we would have heard at least of some of the instances that were happening, but Clark had to deal with a lot of shit of aliens and yada yada throughout his whole time as well, aka making this possibly one of the most dangerous DC universes around besides the CW universe, because holy shit, no matter where you went in this world, crazy ass superhuman shit was happening. No wonder the government was pissed off in him in season 9, tried to kill him. They're like, we're tired of this. But Clark during this becomes a Green Lantern, which is cool as shit, by the way, to see Smallville Clark Kent become that. And of course, we do have Nightwing becomes the Blue Lantern of Hope, which is another brave fucking step. You're never going to see anything like that besides this universe, and that's fucking cool. We do have a Flash storyline with Bart, who comes back, and they pay nods towards Barry Allen and that shit too. The Black Flash of Death is here during this storyline, and we do get introduced to the Jay Garrick, who we saw in the Justice Society. He comes back, and he does a whole thing of being a mentor towards Bart. Now, some of the other storylines do include Wonder Woman getting introduced, and she's got like dope leather outfit, by the way. She is really awesome in here. I love her suit. I love her portrayal. They deal with a magic invasion, so which we have seen in the Smallville TV show. We deal with a little bit more magic, and of course, Clark's vulnerable to us, the whole thing. But we deal with the giant battle in DC with Wonder Woman, which is cool as shit with Steve Trevor and shit. Later on, a little bit later, we do deal with, John Jones, the Martian Manhunter, who was a big part of Smallville near the end of seasons. He comes back as well. And we have a whole thing of the White Martian invasion. God damn. See, again, shit I would pay to see happen in a TV show right now. Listen, we have Tom Welling. We have Michael Rosenbaum. We have these people, minus the girl who played Chloe. We have those people. Bring them back. Do a mini... you know how many views you would get if you made a miniature short film or a short TV, one episode TV show with this shit? You would make millions, if not billions of dollars. Straight up. Besides that point of me pitching, the finale of this whole series. And by the way, that all happens, and there's still a fucking giant finale that lasted a few issues. Like, this shit was pop in. It did not stop the show. They're like, listen, we only have 19 issues here. I'm at least getting this. I have to keep going, and I want to tell these stories. Brian K. Vaughan's like, nah, bitch. Brian K. Miller was like, nah, bitch, we got to keep going here. Vaughn is a different guy. But the finale of this ends with the monitors, the alien species of monitors, like the anti-monitor, the regular monitor himself. They actually invade this universe. The monitors are a whole invasive force, are trying to destroy and consume this universe. And all these heroes, all of them they were a team. They're a team with the Watchtower, of course, as we know. But they never really got a name. They never really got any of that shit. They got kind of a code name and stuff. But with this forms the Justice League. After all the events that happened before, the Monitors and finally invading and shit, all these heroes are able to band together and say, listen, we need this to go. I mean, we live in, like, Aquaman, Cyborg, all of them are in here. So, like, it's a thing. We are forming the Justice League to fight this. And they're formed with the headquarters of Metropolis. And, of course, at the end of this, as we saw in the future visions multiple times throughout the TV series, Lex Luthor becomes president. He climbs the political ladder and does eventually become president, which has got to be a pain in the ass for the Justice League for sure. But that is Smallville Season 11, everybody. A dope as shit storyline, and I recommend it highly. If you've watched the TV show, even people who maybe didn't watch the show when this book was coming out, they would read the book and be like, I want to watch the show. And now it's available wherever. It's like 10 seasons. It's fun. It's derpy sometimes, and especially the earlier seasons. Hardcore DC lore shit later on. And of course, I can cover more of Smallville, the TV show, or Season 11 if you all want, later on for the Lore Pod podcast. But again, let me know if you want to listen to any of that. I've been your host, Dakota Morgan, coming to you from Phoenix, Arizona. So, of course, subscribe to wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave us a review if you can. Helps us out greatly. My social media for Twitter and Instagram is in the description box down below, as well as my Twitch, CodaRex97. Y'all rock, everybody. So, of course, be sure to follow me on those social media because I do a lot of adventures with animals, nature, education, all that shit like that. And, of course, a lot of pop culture shit. Thanks, y'all. And, of course, as always, stay creative, everyone.